I've always wanted to watch this full movie. This is Cujo from 1983, and I've known about this movie forever. I think everybody kind of knows the basic story premise and what's happening with it. A rabid dog, and a mom and her kid trapped in a car. It's basically the plot. It's just kind of been in the lexicon of people knowing about Cujo is just like kind of turned into this term, at least like around my family growing up. Everybody knew Cujo was like a mean dog or, going crazy and stuff like that. It was just kind of a known thing. And then finally, what got me to watch this, I knew that it was on Netflix. And then also, of course, like usual, one of the podcasts I listened to, they were going to review this. So I decided to make it a point to see it. And they're going to be reviewing a lot of Stephen King movies coming up. So, are movies based on Stephen King novels. So I might be reviewing, more of these Stephen King movies that I haven't seen before. So this is actually right around the time where Stephen King stuff was really getting picked up a lot. Carrie had already been done by De Palma in '79, and then Salem's Lot was done for TV, and then The Shining was the big one, obviously, by Kubrick in '80. And then after that, '82 was Creepshow that he did together with Romero. And then this was after that. So that was '82 was Creepshow, it was '83. And then after this, it was like really took off. The Dead Zone was the same year as well as Christine. Those were all in 1983. So, he's really getting going, and just looking through the movies that have been adapted of his stories and movies, it's crazy to like for those movies that I just listed, like the directors, Brian De Palma for Carrie, Stanley Kubrick for The Shining, George Romero for Creepshow, David Cronenberg for The Dead Zone, and John Carpenter for Christine. That's pretty nuts for the first movies of your books being adapted is crazy. The director for this one is a guy named Louis Teague. Doesn't really have much in his filmography. Before this, he did a movie called Alligator, which I think is what got him this part. Then afterwards, he did Cat's Eye, which was I don't think that was actually a Stephen King novel or story, but he wrote the screenplay, so I think he just wrote that for the screen. Other than that, Louis Teague hasn't really done much else. So, like I said, I think everybody kind of knows the story, but basically, I didn't know this is actually set in Castle Rock, which is where a lot of Stephen King's stories take place. And this is kind of a very loose sequel to The Dead Zone. So movie-wise, The Dead Zone came out the same year, a little after this maybe. And during the books, I'm not sure when the books were written. Obviously, The Dead Zone's written before this. Some of the same characters appear, but none of that translates to the movie at all, so I'm just kind of ignore that. But the story follows the Trenton family. Donna is the mother, played by Dee Wallace, and then the husband, Vic, played by Daniel Hugh Kelly. I didn't recognize him. And then they have a young son, Tad. He's played by Danny Pintaro. I kind of recognized him, looked at his IMDb. He's the little boy from Who's the Boss, but I never watched that show. So anyways, they're living in Castle Rock. He works for like a marketing company, an ad agency, and then she's just a stay-at-home mom. Beginning of the movie, it's a very slow build. There's a bit of relationship issues going on. She's cheating on him with their like handyman guy, and then that's kind of the build-up for the beginning of the movie, is this strained relationship they have. The dad's like really good with the boy, but we don't really get why she's cheating on him, if she's just bored or whatnot, but that's the beginning. And then it gets into the meat of the story that we're used to with Cujo. But he's introduced very early on. The dog is Cujo's a big Saint Bernard, and he's out running around. Actually, the movie opens up with him running around a field chasing a rabbit, and then he gets bit by a bat. That's how he gets rabies. But he's the dog of a mechanic. They live out in the country, and the Trentons have been bringing a couple cars there to get worked on. and that's how they get in this predicament. Vic goes away for this meeting. He's gonna be gone for the weekend, and Donna takes Tad to get their car fixed. But when they get out there, there's nobody around. Through this slow buildup of the relationship of the Trentons, they've been kind of intercutting what's happening with Cujo. He's getting more and more crazy from the rabies. He's going mad. And by the time Don and Tad get there to get the car fixed, that rest of that family, the Camber family, is all gone. And then they get there, and right away they see Cujo, and he starts attacking them, and they get stuck in the car. So that's the basic story. They're stuck in the car. How are they going to get out? It's really hot. You don't leave kids or dogs or animals or whatever in cars because it's like an oven. So they're stuck in there. They can't get out because Cujo's out there. Huge dog, crazy with rabies, going mad. He wants to kill him. And that's basically the story. I don't want to tell you exactly how it ends. If you wanted to see it still, it's from 1983, so it's a little over 30 years old. But yeah, I didn't watch it, so I didn't know exactly how it ended. It's really good. I really liked it. I thought. Oh, I was gonna mention one of the names I saw that popped up in the opening credits was Jan de Bont is the cinematographer, and I recognized him right away because he did a movie called Roar, which is about like this crazy movie that was done with a bunch of real big cats like lions and tigers and whatnot, and there's like really crazy on the set. It wasn't really a set. It was, I think he had like his scalp almost got like ripped off by one of the lions, and or did get ripped off. He had to like sew it back on. But he's a really good cinematographer, and he went on to do his own movies like Speed and stuff like that. So he's really good at shooting the cinematography here. I thought the editing was really, really good because I never even noticed the differences between the real dogs. There's obviously a bunch of real dogs and like animatronic or puppets or whatever. I never could really tell. I assumed certain parts where there'd be an animatronic dog or a puppet just because of safety reasons, but it was cut really well. It's really well integrated, and you can't really tell, I didn't think, unless you're maybe pausing it and looking very specifically. And apparently, I didn't notice this either. There was a guy in a dog suit for some of the scenes, for even the more dangerous stuff, so that's funny because I didn't get that at all. And I think they used some Rottweilers done up to look like St. Bernards to make them look meaner, which is one thing that I was kind of worried about getting into this because I really love dogs and I'm not scared of them. So I was kind of wondering if I could, be scared of this dog because, you think of a St. Bernard, you think of Beethoven or the images of St. Bernards in the mountains with a whiskey barrel taking to somebody to save them, And so that was kind of trepidatious about that if I was going to be scared, but it really works. Some of the scares are really, really good when they're in the car. There's some jump scares, but they work really well. And they make that dog look so nasty by the end. He just covered in like blood and just snot and whatever. He looks so gross by the end. They did a really good job at making him convincingly scary and mean looking. There's one part when I literally I didn't jump up or anything, but there's an attack scene when they're out there, and there's this part when this attack happens from Cujo, and I was like, oh man, I can't believe that just happened. I was like, ooh, it was really well done. So they did a good job at it. I think I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. I really like it. The only one thing that Danny Pintero as Tad was pretty good, but he was on the brink of being a little too annoying. I get it because he has to be scared, this crazy dog, but it just went a little, and just for me, just a little too far, just beyond scared and became annoying. I don't know, just the way he yelled and screamed. But they kind of dealt with it well. Dee Wallace she kind of responds appropriately to it too. She starts freaking out too because he's scared and stuff like that. But the one movie that I kind of had a connection to, I thought right away, was Pet Sematary. Had the same type of feel, 80s look to it. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I don't want to look at it if Pet Sematary takes place in Castle Rock or not, but weird things happening with animals and pets and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, it's really good. I was kind of surprised how much I liked it. Actually, I was kind of cautious about if it hold up or if it'd be scary enough, and it's really good. Some of the reviews that I listened to or read, no, they didn't like it as much. They thought it was too slow and it was kind of disjointed, but I really liked the way that it worked, combining this, introducing these characters. You care about them by the point they get to the car and they're stuck in there and stuff like that. And maybe the ending isn't a great payoff, but I think it's okay. So yeah, if you're like a Stephen King completist, you want to see everything of his that's been done on screen, I'd definitely check this one's out. I'd say it's up there with some of the better Stephen King adaptations. It's not straight horror. It's kind of more of a thriller, suspense, because it's nothing really supernatural. It's just he's rabid. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. All right.